It's your boy Nguner in the house, back with another bang on video. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got more news for you. And yes, this time it's not a clickbait. So I would like to explain to you guys that why am I doing actually a lot of clickbait, because I'm actually experimenting with a lot of this clickbait thing, and I'm actually trying to do that from a very long time now. And I have experienced this, that while I actually do this, I'm getting a lot of views, but the real content is in the video. So I would really want you guys to actually watch the video till the end. And if you still don't believe it, you can always unsubscribe and get out of here, and you can find a lot of better content creators. If you feel that clickbaiting is a big problem for you, if this is not meant for you, don't be here. Yeah. And I'll try to control it. I'm not saying that I am always open to these kind of criticisms. I'm always I'll try to take my game up a little notch and try not to be deceiving. Moving on, a source close to Lacazette camp tells that Arsenal Bell that Atletico Madrid's interest in Alex Lacazette has never been a secret, but it is too early and shameful to talk about the French exit. And there is a football season still being played. The focus is on Arsenal only now, so it's clear that Lacazette is not leaving Arsenal. Moving on, FA board would block any attempt to null or void Premier League season or scrap relegation. So please, guys, whoever is going to tell you that the EPL has to be scrapped, forget it, is lying, because that's not what the FA wants. Moving on, Arsenal are in talks to sign teenage Norwegian winger George Lewis. Lewis is currently a free agent, having spent the past few years playing in the lower leagues of Norwegian football. Goal has learned that should the transfer go through, Lewis will link up with Bowles under 23s at Arsenal rather than following the likes of Martinelli and Guendouzi. Charles Watts says about him, he's very quick. That is his key attribute from people I've spoken to about him. He can beat a man. He's got a lot of tricks. He plays on the right wing, but he can operate in any of the positions across the front three. Unbelievable. Arsenal have actually invited the young attacker for a week-long trial in March, and having impressed with his versatility in attacking areas, he was kept on for a further 7 days. Arsenal are now pursuing a permanent deal for the right winger who can play across the forward line, and he turns 20 next month. So let's see how things will turn out to be. But there was a time where Thierry Henry has spoken about the times of Highbury. He says, it's difficult to put into words what Highbury represented to me or any Arsenal fan. I kissed the ground goodbye because I knew it was over. I was never going to play in my garden again. No stadium can compete with Highbury for me. That, my friend, is huge. Well, James Ollie says Arsenal are amongst several clubs eyeing a move for Chelsea's Willian, and it's pretty much sure that the whole and sole interest is concrete as well. Moving on, here's what Thierry Henry had to say about Aubameyang's future. He says, how am I going to tell someone to stay when I left? Oh, that is straight as savage. That is savage. I mean, yes, there are certain Arsenal fans who still believe that Thierry Henry should not have left, but you got to leave when you can't win. So I think I can understand him. He deserves it. Moving on, Samir Nasri has opened up on the doping scandal that rocked the former Arsenal star's career. He says the scandal actually broke while Nasri was on loan at La Liga side Sevilla. He says, what happened in Los Angeles ruined my season. It was an injection of vitamins that was legal, and I had a prescription. I was destroyed because I thought I was going to be banned for 2 years. I didn't want to play anymore after that. I even told Jorge Sampaoli, who was Sevilla boss at that time, to leave me out, but he always wanted me to play. I was lost. I was anxious and angry with everything. I didn't show it on the pitch, but football was over for me. Wow. Moving on, the Premier League clubs have been given until June 2023 to settle the futures of their soon-to-be out-of-contract stars. There are 86 top-flight players set to be available on a free transfer come June 30th, but the league are desperate for fair ground rules to be implemented surrounding their futures and the integrity of the competition. Clubs are expected to have many options. Moving on, the Juventus ace and former Arsenal star Aaron Ramsey can handle playing for Manchester United, according to former Welsh boss Chris Coleman. He says if it's not going to happen for him, he's definitely the type of player that could handle playing for Manchester United, because when you play for Manchester United, the jersey is much heavier than when you're playing for another club in the same league. A smaller club, with all due respect, and the weight of the jersey is not the same. So I'm actually going to jump right into the news that you are actually seeking for. Here's the reality about Thomas Partey to Arsenal. A source close to Thomas Partey, who is still in regular contact with the players' camp, in a special briefing for Arsenal Bell, revealed the reasons that the Ghanian wants to move to Arsenal, and we will review them in the folds of this report in some detail. Thomas Partey grew up in a first-class footballing family. All members of his family from parents to children who are very fond of football have devoted their lives to this game. So the father sees a former coach of one of the clubs immersed in Ghana, and the children look at the boys and girls and see that they have become soccer players. The spark of this love in the family goes back to their childhood days when everyone was intoxicating on TV to watch a live match of the Champions League. Manchester United matches were the most shown on terrestrial television, and it was produced that most of Thomas Partey's brothers attached to Manchester United more. On the other hand, Thomas was different from the rest. Despite the scarcity of the matches offered to Arsenal, but he wanted to become different and distinct from his brothers, so he decided that Arsenal would be his favourite team in order to create an atmosphere of competition with his brothers. The source says in a briefing to him with Arsenal Bell that Thomas was not at first passionate about or interested in the club, but that with the passage of days the matter became to his liking. In a related context, radio sports reporter TalkSport Sean O'Brien mentioned in a report about Thomas being a fan of Arsenal when he was young, and this is one of the reasons that leads him to move to the club. Another source adds that it is players' inevitability to admire the work of Mikel Arteta and his tangible impact on the levels of the players who trained under him. The source who grew up with Thomas and has close knowledge of the way he looked at it says, as for the average field like Thomas, the fact is that he will be impressed by the positive impact that Arteta has left over a number of Manchester City players. Thomas undoubtedly will jump when a opportunity of this magnitude comes to sharpen his talent and give him another dimension. Another dimension with an impact that cannot be underestimated is the geographical location, namely London. Well, which will have a positive impact on the relationship of the two parties. Well, let's see how things will turn out to be, because Thomas Partey's, the source also explains that then we asked him to clarify his comments. So he started by saying that Thomas Partey's fiancée, who works as a model, spends most of her time moving between New York City and London. Last year, the bilateral meetings were sporadic, far apart and short due to each other's preoccupations with his work. But moving to London will have a positive impact on the relationship of the two parties that appeared recently to the public. The news of Thomas's association with Arsenal has been warmly welcomed by the residents of the village where his family resides, as well as encouragement and support from family, friends and current colleagues in the Ghana national team. So pretty much clear that Thomas Partey will definitely be an Arsenal player because he's a Gooner, and let's see how things will turn out to be. So these are the news of the day. I hope you enjoyed whatever came your way. All the views and news and everything about Arsenal come on this platform every single day twice. So help us reach 4,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel. If you're watching this, still haven't subscribed, subscribe with that bell icon. I will see you in my next video. Until then, cheers.